So 100% of the time, I've been using this technique with my pets, and the pet sitters always say an hour before I go to pick them up that they are sitting waiting for me. They always say, we don't know how they know, but they always know when you're coming. And I know it's because of this technique.
Welcome to Unleash Curiosity by Vital Pet Life.
I'm Dr. Amber De Silva, veterinarian and advocate for integrative pet care.
And I'm Donie Yamamoto, founder and CEO of Vital Pet Life. We're so glad you're here.
This is a space where curiosity, compassion, and science converge, where we explore the powerful mind-body connection that supports your pet's health and your own.
Each week, we'll dive deep into the world of pet wellness, breaking down myths, exploring ingredients, and learning from expert voices across the industry.
From nutrition and sustainability to transparency and advocacy, we're here to help you feel more confident, connected, and informed in your care choices.
So let's get into it, because when we know better, we do better. This is Unleash Curiosity. Hi everyone, it's Donie and welcome back to Unleash Curiosity. Today's episode is a little different and a little bit personal. Usually, we dive into the science of formulating, sustainability, and the ingredients behind Vital Pet Life's products. But today, I'm coming to you simply as a pet parent. My dog Tuxedo has faced a few health challenges lately, and through that experience, I've been reflecting on how deeply connected we are to our pets. Not just through care routines or nutrition, but emotionally and energetically. How our own state of mind can affect their comfort, their healing, and even their happiness. So, to explore this experience, I invited Crystal Heinemann, founder and CEO of the Psychic Soul, to join me. Crystal's work focuses on energy mastery, emotional regulation, and intuitive connection, helping people find balance within themselves and in turn within their relationship, including their pets. We'll talk about how our energy can influence our animals' well being, what it means to communicate with them beyond words, and how to create calm and trust, especially during times of change or uncertainty. I hope this conversation resonates with anyone who's ever loved an animal deeply and wondered if they could somehow feel what you feel. Hi, Crystal, and I'm super excited to have you in our podcast.
I am beyond grateful. Thank you so much for inviting me. This is such a pleasure to be here, and I'm so excited.
Yes, yeah. So let's just start. Okay, talking about connection, right? So, Crystal, as you know, this topic is close to my heart because of my dog Tuxedo, and he has been going through some health challenges that really deepen my desire to understand him on a more emotional and energetic level. Now, to start, can you share how you first became aware of the energetic connection between humans and animals?
Oh my gosh. Well, let's first start with Sweet Tuxie and what a fabulous job he is doing. And that is exactly a wonderful example of what our pets do and what they're here for us. And so through him, right, and all of his health challenges, it has really opened you up to so much growth and exploration. And
Yeah.
that's really the crux of what they're here to do with us and for us. I believe they're our greatest teachers. So, first off, like, well done, Tuxie. And we love you so much. We have to give a shout out to Sweet Tuxie. So honestly, when about thinking about when I first became aware of that energetic connection between humans and animals, it goes so far back as to, when I was born. And my first memory of this was when I was 2 years old and I was sitting, and I can remember this like it was yesterday. And I was sitting at the table and my mom she opened up a can and put something in front of me, and it just happened to be tuna fish. And I
Wow.
didn't know she opened up a can, and my older sister says to me, that's a fish. And at 2 years old, I just about like broke in half. And my poor little kid heart was so heartbroken, and I couldn't even fathom the concept that we actually eat animals. It hurt me so deep inside of my
Oh, God.
soul. And that's my very first memory of really a tangible experience of My goodness, like we have such a connection to animals. How could we dare even eat them? Like this was never even part of like my little 2-year-old like mind. Like, how is this
Yeah.
even possible? And since that day, I have never eaten meat in my entire life, and I don't plan on ever eating an animal in
Oh,
my entire
wow.
life. And so there's just several stories of that as a child to where yeah, my parents just had to figure my diet out.
No.
Ye
Wow. That's so amazing. Like now, like,
Mhm.
imagine like coming from a culture that's very carnivorous. Like I remember like I would really hear like there's like a I don't know how you call it. Like, it's like a piggery probably by us where I grew up in Cebu. I could hear like in the dawn wherein like all the pigs will be killed. It never really like I'm just like in my 3D world, like, okay, it's just pigs gonna be
Yeah.
grilled and but now thinking about like how I bond with these guys with Tuxedo and Martin, and then I've been following accounts on Instagram on like how pigs are also what do you call this, like very emotional, like some people are fostering and really taking in like pigs, and I'm like, I don't want to eat pork or anything like pig related anymore. So it's kind of hard. Like, I'm still learning that balance because I know I need my protein, and I'm used to eating a lot of meat. Wow, so amazing. So how did you get your protein growing
Yeah.
up? Like that's
Oh my gosh.
interesting.
Well, I wasn't raised in Cebu, so I was raised in Southern California on the beach, and so it
Oh
was
yeah.
it was pretty easy back then. Yeah, like my parents were like, "All right, that's fine." Like they were pretty good about it. I seemed to be okay. Back then, I would do like they were nice enough to do like little proteins and tofu and beans and legumes, and my mom cooked
Uh-huh.
all of our food fresh. So it
Mhm.
wasn't something that was like too far off of like our cultural environment. My
Yeah.
parents were living the beach life, in Southern
Oh yeah.
California. So they were like, "Well, hey, that's cool."
It's fine. Oh yeah,
That's
very deep.
cool.
Iffy. That's cool. That's good then. That's good. You're lucky then.
Yeah, she's just following her intuition. That's cool.
You know what? That's so you're lucky. Like, some people dismisses that and will really like. I remember
Yes,
being forced to eat because there are things like when you're young, you just know you don't want to eat, but you're forced to eat.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And that goes, to so many other things about energy, about like how we absorb these traumatic experiences in life when, our culture, our belief structures, our parental structures, familial structures
Mm-hmm.
really try to impose, their views on us, right? But inside,
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
energy is saying something else.
Yeah, I remember too. Like that's
Mhm.
reason I have friends that are in like different religion. They really only use like halal like meat because they believe that the connection
Mhm.
between how the meat for the animal to be sort of offered to be like a protein, or like their purpose was to feed us or something like that. Yeah. So I mean I get that. Well,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, and there's no judgment, right? There's no
Yeah.
judgment, and we're all, like, raised in so many different environments.
Yeah, but that's really cool. Anyway, defining energy and emotional harmony. Like you talk a lot about energy mastery, emotional regulation. For those of us who are new to this idea, what does that really mean and how does it translate into the way our pets experience us?
Oh my gosh, what a great question, and I'm a little obsessed about energy mastery. So thank you for asking. So if you can imagine, so a lot of people may just go, "What? What does that even mean?" Like energy and then also a master of it. So in simple terms, if you could just imagine yourself as your own container and not limited to your body, right? Because our energy actually is in constant flux and around us.
Mm-hmm.
But if you
Yeah.
can just imagine yourself as this container, and within that is our energy. And I feel as humans, our role is to be responsible for our energy. My energy, my responsibility. And so our energy, like I said, it's constantly moving. It's like a Wi Fi signal. It's emitting signals and it's also receiving
Receiving
signals, right? So
signal.
it's a constant input output. And that is just what energy is. Yeah. So we're only made up of two things, energy and information. So we're this
Mm-hmm.
Wi Fi signal. in, out, in, out. And so I believe being a master of your energy is just being responsible for your input and output of energy. And I think it's our role in humanity to be accountable for what we're inputting and what we're outputting. And that just really means being aware. And
Yeah.
none of us are perfect ever. But what I mean by being accountable and being responsible is we may say something, right? That's an output. And maybe we weren't like really happy with what we said. Maybe it was something more of like a trigger. Maybe it was defensive. And that's okay, right? We're all human. But being accountable for your energy and responsible for it is self evaluation, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
really like, taking responsibility. I could have done better, right? I could
Mm-hmm.
have done better. Or even deeper, why did I react in that way? And so just being responsible for that. And so imagining yourself, and a lot of the times I'll just take a deep breath and sort of like reel my energy in, right? If I feel it sort of like activating, or maybe someone says something about my dog that I don't like, right? And then like I could feel myself just kind of like
Yeah.
bubbling up, right? My energy
Yeah.
wanting to
Reactive.
explode.
Reactive.
Right? I can explode, and that would be, sure, I could do that. And
Yeah.
then a lot of the times I'll be like, "Oh my god, I was not proud of myself in that moment." And then
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to self-evaluate, "Gosh, like
Mm-hmm.
why did that hit me so hard, right?
Yeah.
Why did I react in that way?" And how it is related to our pets is they have something that's called, all mammals have mirror neurons. And so essentially that means like whatever, say we're on a walk and someone activates us, right? And so we get in this defense mode or something, and we're walking Tuxie, or we're walking, Jean Martin, and you get elevated, right? You get like sort of anxious. Well, through those mirror neurons, and also through their empathy, because they're sentient beings, they're feeling, they will start to take on that as well. So,
Yeah.
being an energy master really is the foundation for responsibility of our overall well being, and therefore the foundation of a really great life for our pets, which is really what we
Yeah.
want, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's how like, all this like dog behavioralists or trainers always tells you like they're just picking up on your energy, like a lot of people know that, but like I think it's just like a surface
Hard to like
level.
understand that, right? Because on the outside, yeah,
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, yeah, I was calm, but are you really calm? Are you bringing in something that, like, maybe you're thinking of something like that? But it's more like a deeper layer. That's what I've been learning lately. Yeah, so I think that's true. Anyway,
great example. Yes.
yeah. Another example is that when you go to dog park, like there's so much everybody, this is what I've noticed. Like when I go to the dog park, everybody was just like going in and out and thinking that, okay, my dogs need like 5-10 minutes of like fun and then poop, let's go. And then you're so anxious, and then the next thing you saw, your dog's already in a fight. And then all the owners, and I'm like, oh no. See, I experienced this with Tuxedo. Like he's super excited. So I have to really like either me or Kyle like will run him in a block before going inside the park, because we need to have to exert his energy. Like, you have to relax, because like he calls trouble when the moment he goes to like, because he'll be yelling, and I'm like, is it me bringing all this energy for him? So yeah, we learn to be more like calm and relaxed when we're like walking in, to a dog park, or basically in the street, like, and when we see dogs coming up to us, or yeah, like really being able to relax. And I think I've noticed that the dogs are reacting to it in a different way.
It's so hard. I mean, it's so hard, right? To be a human and also to be a pet mom sometimes. And I mean, you're doing all the tools and everything, and you're amazing. And it's true. And each of them has their own activity level too, right? So just what you're doing is so intuitive, knowing that Tuxie needs a little run before, right? Like let's kind of exert some of this energy before. You're absolutely tapping into him. And also, sure, I mean, we play a part in that. Sometimes I feel like, our energy can inside, it might look like a tidal wave, right? Like a really rough water happening. And then the outside, we're like, hey, I'm chill, I'm okay. But on the inside, right.
Okay, come on, let's just do the 5 minutes because I have to work. And I think
Yeah.
that's where we're at. So that I always like tell Kyle like, okay, let's be aware, like for the past like few months, like, because when Tuxedo was diagnosed with Addison's is pretty
Yeah.
much like no surge of like excitement or anything that doesn't get him like he needs
Yeah.
to it needs to be in a calm environment. So we're like, okay, no trigger words, nothing, like
Oh,
relax, like do not even
yeah.
give him like a feeling. And then now that he feels better, like he thinks Martin is like invading his space, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's like alpha and beta issue going on in the household. So I have to be the alpha.
Oh,
Like
oh
this
my
week
gosh.
alone, like they've been testing me, and I have to like, I'm sorry, Taxi, you don't want to do this. You're doing it on your own. I didn't do anything. You had to stop. It's not happening. No, I think it goes to the next question about our energy as medicine. Like as I said, I've noticed that
Yeah.
when I'm stressed out or anxious, Tuxedo seems to pick up on it immediately. And I
Yeah.
think he's been with me for the past like 11 years. He knows my triggers. He knows like, because he's one of those dogs that are very lucky that we work from home. He's always with us when we travel, and then the moment that
Yes.
we leave him for like 5-10 minutes, like he's like, oh no, what's going on, how come I'm not involved, like the routine. And then I can really see how the anxiety, like the way he stares at you and pacing around. And we have a little camera in our living room when we have to leave them, and Martin here is just enjoying like with all the trees, and Taxi's like howling, crying the whole time. And I'm like, now I feel bad for leaving him
Oh,
for like even for like 30 minutes. So
yeah.
can you explain
Yeah.
how our emotional or energetic state influences our pets' well-being, both physically and emotionally? If you can like expound on that.
Yeah. Well, first I want to say that my life is very similar to your life. And my sweet little Naya Moon is like Tuxie. So I don't ever leave her. And I work from home as well. And she will scream and cry. And it breaks my heart. So, but let's talk about that, right? And so the concept is of that we are already anticipating that separation anxiety, right? And
Oh.
so we actually, right before, if you're anything like me, which I think that you are, right? If you're thinking about leaving, it's like you start to get more stressed and more anxious because that he's going to be uncomfortable and sad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our energy inside actually starts to build. So it does really reflect them as well. And we go back to those mirror neurons to where not only are both of us, because those are prevalent, they're inside all mammals. So you and I are mammals, right? Our pets are mammals. So what that is that we will mirror the other behavior, right? And so not only are we sentient beings, so you're feeling Tuxie's feeling you, sort of amplifies, right? But then also there's the empathy of that. Like I can feel he's starting to get anxious, right? He's also feeling that you also, and he also too, is actually feeling that anxiety as if it's his own, right?
Oh.
Because of those mirror neurons. So it's kind of a twofold to where they
Mm-hmm.
empathically feel the anxiety and the stress, but also they will take it on as if it's their own and vice
Mm-hmm.
versa, right? So that's probably why you and I get super stressed to leave them because we're picking up on their energy. So then you can see how it kind of becomes like a vicious kind of ball, right? We're
I
like,
know, it's like
oh,
a
it's like, how do we stop this? Yeah.
yeah.
And it's true. And so I love that Texie is already being your teacher with all of this because of what you said prior, that you and Kyle, you're taking deep breaths right before you walk into the dog park. You're, being really mindful on your walks. You're trying to not get like too excited because of his Addison's, right? He's really being your teacher and like, hey, like, he's really being your teacher about calming your energy, balancing your energy,
Mm-hmm.
even though we may all seem cool on the outside, right? What really matters is that like inner turmoil that we're feeling,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And that's what they pick up on. So he's doing an amazing job of being a great teacher for
Teacher.
you. right?
Yeah.
And just the more and more that we can do that, being mindful, again, accountable of our own energy, being mindful of like, I know I'm going to lead him. Let me take a few deep breaths. Let me like really, calm our energy, kind of ground it. And, that might start to help and vice versa, right? I mean, you are an amazing, powerful woman running a huge company and have so much on your plate. Of course, by the end of the day, you're going to have stress and anxiety. And if you're anything like me, you've got a million tasks of the day that like you can't get to all of them. And you're trying to take care of your well-being. You're trying to take care of your kids. You're trying to take care of your business, right? And there's so many things that we're all trying to manage during the day. And all of that just sort of builds up. And of course, like our little ones, they feel all of that within the house.
Yeah.
So the greatest gift is, how do we move this energy, right? How
Yeah.
it's the end of the day. I'm stressed because I didn't get to everything and I only have X amount of hours left in the day. It's like we have even less
Less
time in the
time.
day.
Also, like they're also stressed with the daylight saving time because like everything has changed. So he's like wondering, like, why are you not feeding me?
Yeah, it's different, right? I mean, because they don't pay attention to a clock. They're just
Yeah.
paying, their clock is the sun and the moon, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
I
it's
want
like,
to
get
talk
on
to
my,
you about that because you taught
yeah,
me that tool, and I think it goes to the next question about how, as you said, like how do we move that, and at the same time, like what are the daily practices that us pet owners that we can learn to move that energy, and at the same time, like daily rituals, not even just to like help release the anxiety or calm everything, but more or less like also strengthen the bond, the non-verbal bond between animals and pet owners. Yeah.
and I love that these are your questions because it shows me just like you're so invested in the well-being of animals, and that is why I admire you so much. And I am too. Like
Like
I'm
sometimes I
obsessed.
question myself, is this too much? Is the reason why these guys are a little bit over sometimes? Is it me that's like a little, because I'm like, I hear stuff like, I've been like, I'm involved with all this other like rescues and, stories. And I mean, I'm not saying they're not bad pet parents, but like, I feel like I'm just probably a little too aware of them, or I'm like, am I causing all this? But I just want them to be happy.
Yeah, of course, right? Of course you do. Like you love them so much. So you want them to have the best life. Like, of
Yeah.
course. Right. And so our job is being that responsible parent, right? And being responsible of our energy and responsible for their overall well-being, right? Because we love them so much and we want them to be here forever, and that
If we
is
can.
right, right. And that's, why you've built such a beautiful company. Yeah. So let's talk about energy movements. So energy movement, I love to actually physically move. So there's a lot of ways to, let's go back to the example of you are a powerful CEO and you have, the day is over and, you have some stress from the day, right? And so, you shut the laptop, the day's over and you've got a couple hours left in the day, but your energy is pretty amped, right? From all of the stressors that you have incurred of that day. And so what most people do, because we do have such limited time and we are just really tired as a society and overworked. So what most people do, they think, oh my gosh, well, I've got 2 hours. So that's just enough time to like make dinner and then like shower basically, like maybe watch an hour of Netflix or whatever you want to watch and then go to bed, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like that's what most people do with their time. And there's nothing, of course, like I'm all for like everyone could do whatever they want to do in this life, right? Our choice, our responsibility. But that energy, right? So you can see that you're already full, right? Your container is already full with stress and anxiety. That isn't going to go anywhere if you're making dinner and then you're sitting on the couch and then going straight to bed. That you're going to wake up actually less filled with vitality because you're not going to sleep well that night, right? Because your energy is so filled with all of this. So that energy has to move, right? Energy has to move to evolve. We have to release it. We have to let it go. Otherwise, it starts actually devolving and it becomes stagnant as well. So I'm a big, big advocate Yeah. So when we go to bed at night and our energy container is filled with all that stress and anxiety, it doesn't go anywhere. That we'll have restless nights, right? Most of us aren't sleeping well because our container is already full. And so energy has to move to evolve. And I think we all came here to evolve somewhat. So the simple practice, it's so easy. And the wonderful thing is that our dogs love it too, is if you can really just muster up enough energy after dinner and just go for a walk, right? Walking, running, hiking, playing, all of that really moves that energy. And here's the thing is that if we walk for 30 minutes, say just after dinner or in the morning, preferably both, but say after dinner, right? And you're exhausted, you've had a stressful day, that just 30 minutes of just walking, right? So just neighborhood walking, like you, Kyle, Tuxie, Jean Martin, that's it, right? 30 minutes a day actually lowers your cortisol levels by 20%, which is the stress hormone. And get this, it will improve 40% for our dogs. Our dogs, their cortisol levels will decrease by 40% just with a 30-minute walk. And so our stress levels go down. And the reason being is we're releasing that stress, right? We're outside, we're feeling fresh air, we're getting the Mother Earth medicine, right? Just being outside. And how beautiful that you can do it together. And
Yeah.
so that research doesn't even include the really beneficial thing of where the real magic happens. And that's when we actually connect with our pets on our walks. So I love walking. I live at a marina. So like we're walking an hour in the morning and an hour at night, but like hiking, even just playing, like when I go and throw like frisbee for sweet little Naya, I always make sure that in any of these activities, I'm not listening to any podcasts, even though like I do listen to this podcast, just not on my walks, but I won't distract myself, right? I'm not talking on my phone. I'm not listening to my phone. I'm trying not to think about other things. I'm really trying to be in the present moment and connected to Naya, right? And really connected. And it's just that. And what happens is, and this is research backed, is that when we can be in that moment and we are connected with them and we start to have the same gait, that our hearts actually synchronize together. And I'm getting angel bumps when I say that. So our hearts actually synchronize together. And that is the frequency. First off, it's the frequency of magic. But when we're tapping into and synchronizing our hearts, that is Mother Nature's frequency. That's our pet's frequency. That's how they communicate. And that's how they feel safe, is that when we are in our heart space, like they feel the safest. And so naturally, all of that, right? Our stress is going down. We're releasing the energy. And just by doing all of that and getting into our heart coherence, we're just naturally becoming more balanced, right? And becoming more calm. And we're not even having to do much about it. It's just that movement. And then, right, when our hearts are now synchronized, our bodies are now synchronized. And that's when you actually can really tap in to the magic of your connection and your
Mm.
bond. And, I know it's the best. So last night last night, like 4, but it felt like night, right? Because the nights are getting so dark so early. So we were walking in the marina and I was thinking about our time together. And I was really just thinking about connecting. And I know we were going to have this conversation about how I'm so passionate about moving our bodies as a form of connection with our pets. And then you get all of these other benefits, right? So I was thinking about this on our walk and Naya and I are walking together and she keeps looking up at me. And that's a great sign too, right? When you start to make that eye connection, right? They look back at you, they're checking on you, you know that you're in sync.
Okay.
So yeah, you know that
I
you're
like
right.
that.
Yeah, you're really, you're in communion with the universe at that moment, right? In that moment, you're present and the universe is communicating to you. You're communicating with Tuxie and Jean Martin, right? You're communicating with the birds, right? You're communicating with everything. And so I was in this state and we come to the water and family of otters greet us right at the water.
Oh,
I had not seen them in over a year, and I had been trying to call them in, and because I missed them, and I was thinking about how important it is to be present and connect. And right then and there, a whole family of otters were like, "Hey, here we
here you
are."
are.
And so, of course, otter medicine, otter spirit is all about tapping into joy, tapping into play. It's also their strong suit is actually the divine feminine, which is go with the flow, right? A river otter flows with the river, the current of the water. And so it's very divine feminine energy to go with the flow of life when you see an otter. And so I thought I took that as, someone that is into the woo woo things. I very much took that as my communion with the universe in that moment and affirmation about what we were talking about today.
Amazing. I love that. Like I love your animal stories, the story that you told me about the eagles on your way to Canada. And I'm always looking, I'm like, is that a portal? Like, I'm always looking at like birds. But it gives me, or it made me really be more aware of my surroundings. I've been like yesterday before the beaver moon. We stepped out around 6:30 ish, I think, and we're I was just like, looking at like how beautiful the sky was, like sunset, and it was a different color. It's not as the egg yolky, but it was more of like a pink. I feel like I'm looking at the auroras, but I'm in LA. We never get to see, but it's color of like, it's just so cosmic. And I'm like, I love that.
That's what I feel is magic. And it is, and nature will respond, right? When we're
Yeah.
in that state of appreciation and gratitude, right? You went outside and you were in a state, that's your heart coherence. You were in a state of gratitude. Like, look how beautiful. And that is our moments of communing with nature, right? And in response, we do receive that magic back. I'm a firm believer of.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have another question. Like, this is more about like helping pets through transition changes. So, Tuxedo sometimes struggles when I leave. And I think you mentioned that already, that is also my energy. And when routines like shift, like if there's like new people in the house, now he kind of know if like there's new people, are they going to leave, or if the luggages are out. So I know you mentioned about how to communicate time, travel, and transitions with your pet. Like you taught me about the moon and the stars. I mean, this moon, the placement of the moon and sun. Can you share how we can help our animals feel safe and grounded during those changes, and probably share that to our audience? Because I love that. It's too playful, but I really love it.
Well, and this is a passion of mine as well, because as you know, I was a flight attendant for 22 years. And so travel was my life. Naya is my third little pet companion in my adult life. And thankfully I changed my career to be a stay-at-home mom now. So she's not too hip on me traveling, but I have a lot of experience, in my past life of when I was a flight attendant. And that's all that my dogs ever knew was actually me traveling. So I'm like you, where I'm like, how do I set them up for success, right? I want them to have the best life ever. And we are humans and we are adults. And unfortunately, we have to adult in life. And that means that we have obligations outside of them, which, I'm not so happy about all the time. I would much rather like not have adulting and doing
Yeah.
anything like that. But the facts are we do, right? And so there is a world outside of them. And so we just want the best for them. So how do we set them up for success? So when I was a flight attendant, I was very passionate about how can I help them thrive while I'm gone, right? I want them to feel safe. I want them to feel loved and supported and not like out of balance because I'm not there, right? I don't really want to be their only world, right? I want them to flourish in other things.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, I mean, they are pack animals. And so there's always going to be, we are their pack. So it's going to be very, very stressful. And especially with the holidays coming up, right? All of our houses right now are going to be experiencing change. So we're going to have a lot of company coming in and out, right? We're going to be traveling, all of that stuff. So my favorite tool is I do communicate with the sun and the moon. So I do believe that, I believe in communicating to them and preparing them. So I've spoken to people where they feel, and also trainers who have said, just don't tell them anything and just like grab the bag and just leave and don't look back. And that is just not my style. That may work for others, right? Yeah. Yeah. But I am constantly like communicating. So I just got back from a week's vacation. And so for 2 months leading up to that, I was communicating with Naya. One of my most favorite things to do is, because we want them to feel safe and loved, is I'll get down on the ground with her and I'll put my hand on her little heart. And again, that brings us into heart coherence, right? And actually, I believe it was the Heart Math Institute that studied that when we actually look into the eyes of our pets and we drop into heart coherence, that it releases like massive amounts of oxytocin, which is like the feel good, hormone. Yeah. And so it's really good to do anyways. So I'll get down on the ground and I'll just put, my little heart, my hand on her heart and just tell her like, you are safe, you are loved, you are always supported, you are always, always safe. And so I had a pet sitter that came into the house. And so I walked with her every single week so she would get familiar with Naya. And so each time I would just say, I just started preparing her. And although I believe Naya understands my words, and I'm sure Texie and Jean-Martin understand your words too, but really what they're picking up on, I think they do have that intelligence, but also they're picking up on the energy and the intent that our words have, right? Our words are being delivered with an emotion. Right. And so that's really what they're picking up on. And so I just started preparing her the whole time. You're going to be so safe with Debbie. You're going to be so seen. And they also love jobs, right? They love to be needed because they came here to be our greatest teachers. They did not just come here to be, a little fluff ball on the couch, even though they excel at that, right? They came here with deep purpose. Like they have purpose. And they want purpose. And so I feel it's very important that I always acknowledge like Naya's role in this world. Like her role is to spread love. Like she is here and like she spreads love. She brings joy. And so that's something that I would communicate, right? That's something I communicate to her too, to prepare her for that change. Like no matter what, you're always safe. And remember, you've got a job. You have love to give. You have, it's so important that you spread joy and that you're calm and you're balanced. So the emotion that they're picking up when we're in our heart, we're talking, we're eye to eye. So we're getting all this oxytocin. So there's this really beautiful communion that's happening. And then also they communicate not only by feeling our emotions, they communicate telepathically, which is through like our imagery, right? Some would call it our third eye. It's, the same process of our thoughts, our memories. They read all of that. I mean, if you ever notice that if your dog sleep with you, like mine does, like if you're lying in bed and it's like no one's up yet, but you're up and your thoughts start running, then all of a sudden, there's no sounds that happen, but all of a sudden, like your dogs are like, hey, I'm reading all of your thoughts. Yeah. I know you're up.
I feel that because so it's funny because I see this in Instagram a lot, like, pet parents, like me crying at 2 a.m. and my dog's like, it's a meme. It's a fun meme, but knowing that, you won't last for like a long time and you're only like a 1-year-old dog puppy, like snoring and then I'm here crying. Like I laugh at that, but seriously, I feel that too with Tuxedo, like having all this like issues, like in the past, like, sorry, Taxi, I'm talking about you. I've been thinking of that. And he will really get up and look at me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, go back to bed. It's okay, go back to bed. So I think they're picking that up.
Yeah. So I'm like, swipe it out of there, like get it out of there. I got to clear my
I had to
mind.
clear that out. You know, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a tool to clear that out. And I'm going to promise myself that I'm just going to, have a good night's sleep. I'm going to, because like he's been waking us up a lot, but I think it's me waking him up. I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, just pay attention next time, right? When you wake up, like, what was I thinking about? And, they're in your mind for sure. So
He's the only thing I think out at night.
I'm always like, get out of my head. Come on, give me some privacy. Go to the bathroom with me and you're in my head. But they do communicate through images. So my best way to communicate time for them, right? Because they don't know how to read a clock. So when we do travel, or maybe like Tuxie gets a little bit nervous when you leave. So maybe if you're leaving for 4 hours or something like that, communicate time to them. And how you do that is images of the day. So they tell time by the sun and the moon. So for example, I left for a week, and what I did with Naya was I showed her, and I kept communicating the whole time, preparing her. I would close my eyes and I would show her how many suns I was going to be gone. I would do a sun and then I would transition into the moon. So the moon would represent night, right? And the sun would represent day. And I do that cycle about how long I'm going to be gone. And then, and I've done this with, for 22 years with my pets. And when I'm coming home, I even communicate what the sky is going to look like at the time I'm landing or the time I pick them up. So say, for example, I would get home at 5 p.m. I would flash an image as to where the sun and the moon is going to be at 5 p.m. And hands down, so 100% of the time I've been using this technique with my pets, and the pet sitters always say an hour before I go to pick them up that they are sitting waiting for me. They always say, we don't know how they know, but they always know when you're coming. And I know it's because of this technique. And, we spoke about how Naya has some separation anxiety. Do you know the entire week she was Joe Cool? She never screamed. She never was anxious. She was calm the entire time. And
That's
same
amazing.
thing. Yeah. And my pet sitter said she somehow just knew. And I was like, oh, yeah, I have this like sun and moon technique.
Wow. I have to practice doing that for next year for it shows.
Yeah, it's really helpful. I'm all about giving them as much information as possible. Like we're always in communion with them.
Yeah. I often feel like, Tuxedo is my greatest teacher.
Yeah.
He mirrors my emotion, reminds me to slow down. Like, not just Tuxedo, but also Jean Martin now. Like, he's like picking up and like, hey, let's go outside. Like, you've been sitting down for a long time. Again, from your perspective, how do our pets help us grow emotionally and spiritually as humans?
Oh my gosh. Well, just look at your life and look at my life, right? Would we be the people that we are today without them?
Exactly. I mean, I was just telling a neighbor the other day in a walk, I'm like, who'd have thought that I'll be looking at poops as a work, like, and be enjoying when I see it's really clean and smooth. I'm like, I thought I'll be making dresses and clothes the whole time, but I'm like, look at me now. But I love it. I love doing what I do.
Yeah, you built an entire business and sustain your life because of the love that you feel for your pets. And talk about emotional growth and personal growth, right? You would not have built this life if you did not have and receive the growth from them, right? And it's because you're in communion with them. You are receiving from them and they are receiving from you enough to where it just activated your passion to where it's like, I have to advocate for them, right? And my hopes are, I would not know what the percentage is, that there's more people like us that can start to open up the concept that we are companions, right? We are here in communion. This is a mutual, respectful relationship that needs to be cared for and respected for. And just like any relationship, there is so much growth that is there for us. I quit an entire career of flying for my dog.
But you know what? I'm seeing that a lot. Like I'm seeing a lot of people that are pretty much in a very different, like, not just career but industry, and they're now in the pet space. So my only hope, so too, because like I mean, there's like a huge growth with like pet ownership, pet wellness, and all those stuff. Like I'm really hoping that it, like all these companies and people that are building these businesses see more than that. Like that's why I'm really like, I know it is something different, like what I'm talking about. Energy, how frequency and the bond like with animals. Like I feel like it should be incorporated in your business. And at the same time, like, I feel like this is one of the things that not a lot of pet parents should know. Like as I said, like I'm learning so much with Tuxedo and taking care of Jean Martin too. But I feel like this is something that I'm really hoping that, people just go beyond like, okay, what's the next ingredients that are available in the market? Like, oh, everybody's going through like uh, plant omegas, but yeah, I'm really hoping that, it will transcend like other than just, functional support or like I feel like I'm going beyond which is great because like it's making me be a better person, be a better creator for them. Like, it's how to help them
Exactly.
sustain. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you answered your own question. Exactly. You would not be doing this if it wasn't for them. That's
Exactly.
their role with us, right? And all of us have some form of a story like this of how they have impacted us and changed our lives. And I feel that we dismiss that a lot of the times. Look, here you are. And then here I am. I gave up 22 years of flying, because I was tired of leaving her and no one was going to take care of her the way that I took care of her. Right. They make us, but really, really what happened is we were ready for this, right?
Yeah.
We came here to do what we're doing, and our pets can be those catalysts, right? A lot of the times we wouldn't do it for ourselves,
No.
but we have so much passion for them and they
Mm-hmm.
know this. And so then they basically position themselves so that we will do it for them. And it completely changes our lives. And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be so, life changing like you and I haven't experienced, but in every single day, think about the emotional growth and the maturity and the awareness that you're receiving when you do take a break and tap into them. And all of the compassion that you probably have learned, they teach us so much. They teach us how to love, right? They teach us how to love unconditionally. And oh my gosh, I would not be the person, just those basics of the love and also having to provide the love. That is, I mean, amazing lessons in life and amazing emotional growth.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. So talking about lifelong bonds too, like I think I'm tying this up, like you've mentioned about they're here to give us like, or to catalyze what we are here for, like our purpose, right? What about the idea of
Yeah.
animal reincarnation and lifelong energetic bonds? Like for pet parents who have lost a
Yeah.
beloved animal, what comfort or insight might that be, what perspective that you can offer?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, first, let's just say the grief of losing a pet is immense. And I
Mm-hmm.
often feel that it's minimized because society will say, oh, that's just a dog. Oh, it's just a pet.
Yeah.
But like you said, who goes to the bathroom with us? Who's in our heads as much as they are? It's our little ones. And so the grief is immense. So also, I mean, with that, right, you have to be open to the concept of reincarnation, the idea that energy is eternal, that our physical bodies can easily, right? It's fact, our physical body will decompose and die. Fact, right? For all of us here. But again, we're our container of energy. And our container of energy holds this spirit, right? Holds this energy of ours, and energy can't be destroyed. It evolves. And so the concept of reincarnation to me seems super basic, where I'm like, well, yeah, duh, of course, right? Energy has to evolve. And it's up to them if they want to come back, right? Are there lessons? Does my human have lessons to still learn? And when we connect in the way that we're talking about connecting, and by the way, Donnie, I just want to say like how very brave you are for bringing these topics to your podcast. it's super brave. And I also feel it's super holistic. The concept that there is more to just, what you are seeing, right? The amazing products that you have and the advocacy that you're offering. There is like the energy and the spirit behind it, right? And so I think that you're very, very brave to bring someone like me on. So thank you.
No, this is something that I always, because like, okay, I've been through a lot of like vet emergency vets, and
Yeah.
the
Oh,
immense like
word.
emotion I've seen talking to pet owners. I mean, the last one, I mean, previous to this like last one that we went to, I mean, I felt so bad. Like he was telling me about his pet was there for because he wanted to see the internist, I think, or the specialist, because like his dog really needs to have his tooth pulled out. I'm sorry, this is just an example, but I felt so much empathy when he mentioned about like, this is my last dog. I have like three of them, and he's like the last one among the three. And in between my parents passing, like in during the pandemic and 2 years after I lost the other one, it's so weird because I didn't even cry when my parents left, but I was so
Right.
affected when my dog died. And I'm like, I
Right.
don't know what to do when he's gonna go. Cause like he was so worried that he needs the dog's dental tooth to be taken out, but the other vets doesn't want to do it because he's got a heart murmur. So he has to look for a specialist. So while I was listening to, while we were talking, and I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Like, you know what? So that's why, like, I feel like it's not just me who's going through this. It's gonna be more people that are loving the animals that are preferring to have an animal companion than having kids. And there's a lot of my customers or listeners out there that are doing that. I mean, I want to be prepared. I want to share that there's more to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I
bringing
think
you
that
is
is so
it's
beautiful.
so it's so
And
great because you have
yeah.
experience.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I do have experience with that. Exactly. Yes, exactly. So the idea that our spirit is eternal, and I am intuitive, so I do tap into the energy of this because it is very important to me to hold faith and also when I have lost a pet, a beloved companion, that I want to hold that space and the invitation for them to come back. And most times they are they want to come back almost immediately back to us.
Right.
So, of course, like, oh my gosh, like almost immediately, like they are ready. And the really cool thing about them, and again, how they're our greatest teachers, is they're not attached to their physical bodies whatsoever. They absolutely understand that they are eternal, that they have a spirit, and they are not attached to death like we are. They are not attached to their body. As soon as they leave their body, they're already talking about the next adventure. Like to them, it's an adventure. And they don't really have that attachment towards it. They understand that that was a chapter. And that was one thing. It's been 3 years since I lost my little girl, my little bulldog. And I mean, I will say, like, I mean, I almost had to walk away from my business for a year. I was just in so much grief. I mean, it was so incredibly painful. And I know I'm not alone in that. I know that a lot of people feel like that. And I would do a lot of long walks because that's where I feel that I can really connect. And I'm talking about connecting with her spirit, since she had transitioned. And I heard something really, really beautiful if you're open to hear it. And maybe some of your listeners would enjoy something like this is what she had said was she was speaking of the non-attachment and that the reason why their lifespans are so much less than ours is because they come to us for chapters. And so if you think about it, that our pets are here for chapters in our life. And so their bodies, they're only here for those chapters and then they're ready to shed their body and then move on. And most likely they'll come back into a higher and better form that's going to suit our next chapter and their next chapter as well, complementary. So it's actually a really beautiful process of a cycle of life. And it's something really beautiful. And they are always excited to come back if you are open to that experience. And honestly, even if you aren't aware of it, they probably are anyways. So they have their own agenda, as you know. So I think that it's important to, of course, honor the life, honor the passing, but also hold that really sacred space that if you want them to come back to you, then they're going to come back to you and they're going to match you in that next chapter in life. And it's something really, really beautiful. And I believe that they're always here with us,
I love
just like our
that.
humans.
I love that. Like I feel like Tuxedo and I has been together in my past life. Like there are moments when he had his bladder stone taken out, like when I'm making him broth or whatever. There was just like snippets of like I remember doing this for him a long time ago, but it was just so weird. Like I'm doing it again, but I'm like, am I just making this up? But you can, like even if people make fun of you, like, oh, you're just making it up. But I'm like, I mean, I'm just trying to be honest. Like there are moments that I feel like that we've been together before and I've known him a little bit like, I've known him for a long time, so I believe in the,
Yeah, I believe in that too. And I say lean into it. I say
yeah,
absolutely lean into it because it's a whole nother layer to your relationship. So why
yeah,
would you not want those memories to come forward? Because then you're building even a deeper relationship.
deeper
And that's
bond.
what we
Yeah,
want.
exactly. And I feel like sometimes I'm like,
Yeah.
you're teaching me to remember. Like there are things that I'm like, you're telling me to remember what we did before, huh?
Yeah. Well, and they love to play with us in our dreams. So,
Yeah.
because they get into our mind and they will reveal other lifetimes in our dreams. They will communicate in our dreams. Yeah. Can I tell you a really quick, funny story the other night?
Yeah, do
About
it.
how they invade your dreams. The other night I was sleeping and I had the awareness that this really soft, sweet little female voice was just chit chatting with me. I have no idea about, but it was just like, I could just tell she was around. And then all of a sudden in my dream, I hear, and in real life, Naya, my dog, takes her paw at the exact same time I hear boop in my dream. Naya punches me in the face and goes,
Oh my God.
so she literally was talking to me in my dreams and she literally goes, and her paw hit me in the face.
Oh
So
my God, that's so
they
funny.
are always active. Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway, okay, so for our listeners who want to deepen their connection with their pets right now, especially those navigating health challenges or big emotion,
Yeah.
what's one simple daily practice that you can recommend to bring more peace and harmony into that relationship? Just one simple, like
Oh,
other than like walking. Yeah.
I would say just connect, right? Just connect and say hello, right? I think that we can often sort of like get to the day to day and not like just, get on that floor and like throw a ball or like, do something that, what brings them joy, do it for them, right? Like do that for them. Yeah. That's what I say.
I
Yeah.
think to me, I will do the heart thing, like being in coherence with them. Like I want to do that more, and I'm really gonna focus on that. And the more the stuff that you told me today, like I feel like maybe tonight I'm gonna practice it, like sleeping, not waking him up. I'm gonna let him like have his, and not think about him, not worry about like whatever it is that I think that is happening to him.
Yeah, because remember those mirror neurons, right? And
Yeah.
so if you're thinking it, right, like he will actually mirror that. And that's hard, right? That is energy mastery. And you
Mhm.
are excelling at it. Like you are
Still
amazing
learning.
at it. You are amazing. And it's just being aware, right? Like when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're thinking about that, it's like, okay, so how do I not allow that to take over my thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Let's shift that and like let's envision Tuxie like running free at the park and how happy he is, right? Shift the mindset of I'm not going to think like when you have those thoughts about like, going downhill with all the challenges that that we all can go down, shift it,
Yeah.
imagine him running, having a good old
I've been
time
doing that. Like
playing.
I was even telling him like, okay, how good could it get? Like you
Exactly.
won't you won't be needing this medicine. Like, I mean, I'm really happy too because like he was able to tell me what's really going on, and we were able to see and help him. But I wish, like, he doesn't have to go through it. And because it's funny too, because it's the cortisol, like he can't produce cortisol. His cortisols are really low, so there's like it should be balanced. Like, it can't be too
Huh?
low, because we think that low cortisol is good, but I feel like having too low cortisol is not that good.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, because I'm not a doctor, but I feel that everything has to be in balance, I would assume. But yeah, poor little guy. And I exactly imagine how good can life get? So get down into the heart space, right? And like really get into it. I'm like, how good can it get? Like, how amazing
Yeah.
is it? Because we are creating our reality. I heard someone recently say that, miracles aren't outside of us. Miracles are actually within us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's the frequency that we're tapping into. And that's the love frequency, right? When we tap into our heart, that's their frequency too. And a
Yeah.
lot can transcend within that heart space.
I even forgot to mention about the telepathy tapes that I've been like, I got sucked in, like, I think early this year. And they were talking about like how the parrot understands that the owners are coming in. Like it's basically they're in tune, like, their heart, they're both in heart coherence. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. To me, those are miracles, right? Those are miracles and it's worth it. And I know it takes a lot of effort. We all want to multitask and be on the phone
Mhm.
and do the things. And so it takes effort to clear a schedule to like really interact and get in that heart coherence with them. But I feel like the reward is just so great.
Yeah. But I feel like too, with where we're at in this world right now, there's just so much calamities, aggression, pain, like everybody's constricted, right? I'd rather be with my dogs and just like think, oh, I want love and, happiness and joy. Yeah. I think I'm gonna lean on that.
There's a reason why, yeah, there's a reason why there are emotional support. It's like literally they are our emotional support.
I know.
We feel good around
Well,
them. That's their magic,
exactly.
right? That is their magic. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I turn down invitations all the time. I'm
I'd rather be with them. My gosh.
is it dog friendly? Then probably not. Yeah.
Thank you again, Crystal, for sharing your wisdom and heart with us today. Can you give us like where or if our listeners wanted to connect with you and follow you? Like, I follow you on your YouTube channel, Psychic Soul, and I also a member of your app, the Psychic Soul app, wherein I get my daily meditation, daily resets, and I love that being incorporating, like having your app as my tool for daily. Like, I start my day going through the app and doing meditations, resets, and just, starting my day with good intentions. And can you share with us? And we will also like put it in our show notes.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so grateful to, of course, be on today. So thank you so much for having me. And I'm so grateful that you're part of my community too. And
Yeah.
we can do wonderful things like that. Yeah, it's like so amazing to just hear that. So thank you so much. And oh my gosh, what an honor. So yes, so I do meditations. You could go on my YouTube channel, The Psychic Soul, find all of your like really yummy meditations there. And visit my website, thepsychicsoul.com, and the Psychic Soul app. Yeah, the Psychic Soul
Yeah.
app. And you can get, just like Donnie, you can get all of your daily resets and some quick energy tips and all the good stuff to live a calm and balanced life, not only for ourselves, but also for our little babies, right? Our little angels, as I like to
Yeah.
call them. So if we don't do it
Exactly.
for ourselves, do it for them.
Well, thank you, Crystal. Thank you so much. So grateful to have you in our podcast today.
I'm so honored. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much for your time with us, Crystal, and also to our audience. Thank you for listening, and to Crystal for sharing your wisdom and your heart with us today. This conversation reminded me that our pets don't just rely on us for food or care; they tune into our energy, our emotions, and our presence. When we're grounded, calm, and connected, they feel it too. And that awareness can be such a powerful part of their healing journey and ours. So if you're going through something similar with your pet, maybe a health challenge, a transition, or just trying to deepen your bond, I'd like to hear more from you. What's worked for you? And how did you help your pets feel safe and supported through change or stress? So email us at podcast@vitalpetlife.com and share your story. Your experience might help inspire or comfort another pet parent who's listening right now. Thanks again for being part of this community and for showing up with so much love and curiosity, both for your pets and for yourself. Until next time, take care, stay grounded, and give love to your furry friend. A little extra love from me and Tuxedo.